Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Detail Rag. This is episode 50. We are speaking with Geoff Ganes of Shineworks Detailing out of Arizona. Geoff, welcome, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for
Appreciate
being
you.
here.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you.
Wow.
Thanks for having me.
Geoff and I have had quite interesting conversations here this morning, and I want Geoff to tell his story because, again, this podcast to me is about helping each other and moving people forward and keeping people on track where they need to go. And if there's something that we've all encountered that can help somebody move forward, then that's why we're here. Geoff, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're at, and how Shineworks came about.
So Shineworks has been around about 10 years. Licensed since 2013, 2 years prior, part-time, kind of building it up to that point to be full-time. Full-time for 10 years. Been a fun roller coaster, been an interesting roller coaster by no means. Maybe we talk about some of the speed bumps, we'll call them, that we've hit over the years.
Sure.
And just kind of how I gotten into detailing. I think detailing was it's a passion since a little kid, having little cars, trying to get, washing dad's car, and to just having that. I guess some people always say we have OCD, right? Because we like
Right.
everything so particular. Everything in my house is just so organized, and that's how I kind of always liked things, So can I make money out of it? It's the first question. But prior to Shineworks for 10 years, I was with Dillard's department stores. I don't know if they're at where you're located, but they're here in Arizona, very similar to Macy's, very similar to, I guess, Nordstrom's.
Yes.
And so within when I was working with them, me and another guy joked about, can we wash big fleets and bigger accounts? His mom worked for a Hispanic child called Univision. So she was asking him, can you guys come, or can he come at that time and wash all the trucks and all the big equipments and all the stuff that goes out? So we just thought of the idea as a possibility to start a business then. And back then we were selling shoes, lady shoes, one of the largest shoe floors in the West Coast for sure, in Scottsdale,
Okay.
Arizona. And so that was the first intriguing idea. I got promoted at Dillard's and got comfortable with, corporate America, we'll call it, right? Comfortable kind of growing up with them. And I stayed with them for a long time. And, we talked about a little bit about my past, and the past was the grass was never green for me growing up. It was a fight, and more or less it was just trying to figure out how to ends meet, we'll call it,
Okay.
The first of the month was always the good part of the month. The first week of the month was always good. Everything was always nice then. But by towards the end of the month, my dad was pawning TVs and VCRs and stuff like that just to pay the bills, So when Social Security came in, that was the win-win. So, but at Dillard's, I sold myself and kind of just grinded enough to be in upper management and oversee shoe departments and oversee stores. And, it was just a great run. But, the recession in 2009, 2008, they had a shift, and the shift wasn't for the better. It was all about management. People got taken care of. Those were good conversations, so the conversations turned into more grunt and grind.
Right.
So started buying equipment, bought equipment from a guy in California, saved up enough money. I think it was $800. Got an extractor, got a Porter cable, got, a basic kit and equipment to start. Then it was just starting. How do I start detailing? Kind of the prior to YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the start of it. So all we knew was rotary, not Porter cable, rotary, and so we was learning it. So I just learned, but we learned how to wash cars, I think, more. And that other guy was like, the other question was with the other guy, he's like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I've been washing Univision. This is all I'm doing. I left Dillard's now, and now I'm starting to wash cars. And so we just started building on that. So then the question was, do you start building it together? And you just, the only thing is two people are better than one, you think, and so you got to really learn, we did that for 3 years, building a business, knocking on doors, knocking everywhere. Cause I couldn't take a picture and send a post, And it was just, we went to business, to high rise, to anything that we could see a lot of people at once. We figured out how to put a name out there. Shireworks Detailing, Shireworks Detailing, Shireworks
Sure.
Detailing. You know, but we didn't have enough capital to get the nice things. So we really had to work really hard to try to figure out how to get the nicer things, you know, because like I said earlier, you know, we just really relied on it as a child, you know, on the government to take care of us in any situation that it was, you know. And so when I was young, my mom passed away from cancer. You know, we talked about another guy that you speak with, and that he has, you know, he has a foundation that focuses on cancer. And so my mom passed away from breast cancer. So at that time, I was 7 years old, just trying to figure out what's third grade. That's the next thing in front of me.
Right.
You know, and so from second grade summer, it was, you know, my dad trying to figure out what's his next thing for him. And so that shift was an interesting shift as a child, but you just learn, all right, this is what it is. Follow my dad's lead, you know? And so I just followed my dad's lead for so long, and he did really well for himself too. But there comes a point where another death may occur, you know, and I've had a lot of deaths, and we were talking about the other day, it's like my dad, when I was turned 22, my dad passed away. And so then I had to figure out 22, what do I do next?
Right.
And so, but from 22 to not 7's pretty young, but 10, 11, 12, dad was like, you're too much. And I'm a lot, you know? And so, and being a lot, it's, you know, he was just go, you know, his go was in trouble. His go was like, oh, I can do anything, you know? So anything turns into, you know, being more of an adult, you know?
Right.
So if that's just running with kids that were older, that's what we did. So I did everything an older kid did, and then I kept growing up too. And, you know, I'm a pretty tall kid too, and I've always been a tall kid. You know, age of 13, I'm already 6'2", 6'3", you know.
Wow.
So I'm already looking like I'm an adult, but I'm a young kid, you know.
Right.
And so yeah, I did a lot of stuff. And so with the freedom as such a young kid, I always tell, as I got older, I always told, like, I can't tell my kids are still little young, but I always tell them, you know, I've lived an adult life by the age of 17.
Right.
You know, the drugs I choose, or the stuff I did, or, you know, whatever it is, those are stories for days.
But the thing is that what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of people out there that were in similar situations. And unfortunately, you had to grow up a little quicker. And that, from my standpoint, is those are some of our very, very strong obstacles for you to overcome at such early ages.
For sure. You just learn them. It's the only thing I see in front of me. You know, that's probably a good way to see it, is like, all right, what's next? All right, what's next? But, you know, I got sober at 17. I think that was the eye opener. But, you know, getting sober, that was the next thing that was in front of me. That was like, all right, well, what's this? You know, these guys look a little bit happier. You know, we can get into depth with that. You know, that's just, you know, I told you, you know, I'm just bound to write a book, you know, because that book's so intriguing. Because I mean, working for Dillard's, I got an older brother opposite. Went to ASU, got a college dad, you know, got the bachelor's and did all the right things. Bless my brother. We're totally opposites, and that's why we're just might be a little bit distant than normal. You know, that I probably would like, right? Or he would like, but at Dillard's, we had the same careers. We did everything the same path. You know, I sold myself. Hey, I'm a good guy. Let's do this right. And I just want to work hard. So just taking that same mindset that I use to a positive way, just driving with Dillard's and starting with Shineworks and realizing customers are the most important thing. People are the most important thing. Relationships are really important.
Right.
You know, as much as that dysfunctional relationship I had for so long with just the adaptation of life, I guess, you know.
Right.
Like, I need you, you know. We need each other, you know. And Shineworks, like I said, it's just, blessed to help so many people and hire a staff over the years that have come and go, so many people come. I wish the first person you hire would stay with you the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
God, that'd be amazing. That's what I
Yeah.
want. Or, the guy that you've hired that stayed with you for 2 years, you're like, can you just stay for 5 more? We got something good going. Let's just keep going, and those are those speed humps that you face. But, today, never go back to who I was. And that was such a young kid. It's not a young kid, but,
right.
I'm not going back that way. Let's go forward and let's figure out what the next thing is.
So I apologize if I missed it, but what age range were you at Dillard's into Shineworks? So when you got sober at 17, where were you at?
So I was plugged in sobriety for 9 years.
Okay.
Going in, we'll talk about meetings, right? Going to meetings, we're doing my thing that I just felt like I needed to at that time in my life, right? About 9, I think it was. I'm getting old, right? So we got to remember. Dillard's, I stayed with Dillard's I turned my 2 weeks in, like 2 weeks before 10 years there.
Okay.
So I thought I'd get an incentive, it's your 10 years. Do I get a discount for the rest of my life? Yeah, no, you're too young, kid. I just remember that. It's just, you're too young. So early 20s, like time links, man, I lost my dad, like I said, in my early 20s.
Right.
And I just remember that store I was at that time was like my 3rd store with Dillard's. And I think I did 2 more stores with them after that, 3 more stores after that.
Okay.
So 3, 9, I don't know. 20, 25, 20,
so you're
early
mid
20s
when you started detailing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
About mid 20s. For a few years, the last 2 years at Dillard's, like just on the weekend,
Okay.
Not yet profit, more of enthusiast.
Sure.
And just doing, and gain knowledge of what I'm doing. And then the last, it's just like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there, 2011, about 2013. And I'm better with years than ages,
Yeah. Okay.
So
when you decided to go full time, tell me a little bit about, it sounds like to me like you were encouraged by this other guy and you guys started this business together, correct?
Two guys.
Okay.
So like, let's just say last 6 months at Dillard's, I went on a leave of absence. During that leave of absence, I had a tumor in my left knee. Just got chiseled off my knee, pretty much an extra bone. But I was gone for 3-4 weeks, a good chunk of time, right?
Okay.
During that time, I had a neighbor catty corner from where I lived. The house I lived, he's catty corner. Nice things, right? We'll talk the nice things.
Sure.
A Hummer, beautiful old classic truck, motorcycle. His name is Jovan. Still talk to Jovan today. Jovan, on Peterson's Perfectionist. He did surface cleaning, concrete, detailing, car detailing, car washing. And all I remember every time I look out my window when I worked at Dillard's is like, man, this guy's always gone. Jovan was more of the instinct. Adam was more of the conversation. Does that make sense? That's probably a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So I see Jovan, hey, that's my man. He's always gone. So during that time, I started buying equipment. Like I was saying, remember I went back. So I started buying the equipment. I had an extractor. Jovan didn't have an extractor. So towards my end of my leave of absence, I was walking around, moving around. Now I'm going. Jovan said, hey, can I borrow your extractor? I got a customer needs some shampoo under their carpets. Absolutely. I let him use it. When he came back with it, he said, I don't know if I used it right. So I said, well, I'll ride with you the next day. So then I rode with him the next day. We went out the first stop. So excited to go out with this man to learn this business, right?
Right.
So I got to say, he's the one that planted the seed. So when I went out with him, we did the first job. We did this. I don't even remember the car, an SUV. I hit the back. I've used it enough throughout the neighborhood. Just that weekend thing. I used that machine enough to know it. So we went out to do the first job. So when we were done, he had a single cab, the extended cab Ford F-150, teal blue, and he had a whole unit in his bed, and it was all ran off of batteries.
Okay.
So he had a water tank, pressure washer, everything ran off batteries. Real neat, self-contained. logos on the side, all this thing, real neat. Like I said, he was running a really, 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 really good business, and he still does today. So I leaving the customers, hey, can I go to the restroom? We stop in McDonald's, I jump out, I run in real quick, go to the bathroom, come out, get in. Instead of him like leaving out the parking lot, he cuts through the parking lot, which is a Bash's grocery store. It's a grocery store here, right? So he cuts through the Bash's parking lot. 10 seconds later, the cone, the light post, this concrete post,
Yeah.
he hit it. I went through halfway through the engine. My head hit the windshield. So that whole little dream, we're safe, we're fine. My wife came and picked me up. That's how that kind of like that whole dream. And I was like excited to ride a week with this guy. I got another week of leave of absence. Nothing against Dillard's. I left you now, right? But so it crushed my dreams, right? I was so excited to get the whole day. He had a full day ahead of him. I think we had 6 or 7 cars ahead. And so after that, the story short, he left for about 5 years. And so during that time, I tried to like help his business, keep his business running in the time that he was gone for 5 years. And so it didn't work out between the conversation with his wife and then his mother. And so it just didn't work. And so we stayed in contact a little bit during those 5 years, not a lot, but since then he's got his business going again. He's doing his own thing. We've had lunch and stuff like that. So he's still doing his grind, but man, he planted the seed of like this possibility,
So how long how'd you make
that point to there was very short, like to me going full time. So just saying Dillard's, enough is enough, and it's time to just try this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was then it was going in the secondary guy, and then him helping a little bit after that, maybe 6 months, much after that. And then we started grinding for a little bit together for about 3 years.
So that leads me into where are you now? And how long?
So after that 3-year mark, it was pure hunger. So from like 17 to like prior COVID, right? We were running 2 vans. I had a shop we opened up that we're sharing space with somebody else. Growth was pretty decent of like about 9 people ish on payroll.
Okay.
And it was like going into 19, renewing the lease and seeing where we're at was, you got to remember, I haven't talked a lot about it, but it's the most important thing is just my family. So I left Dillard's, and part of leaving Dillard's was spend more time with my family, because Dillard's took 100 hours a week. It was just a salary pay, but demand was high, and so going into that point was like, all right, I want to spend more time, but you forget that last part of entrepreneurship is that dedication to it at the time, so the first 3 years was that grind of just grinding in that. So we just tried more to see how farther we can push ourselves. And like I said, it wasn't applying for loans and bank loans. It was just going and get the next customer, going to find the next client, going to find the next client. That's the solution to all this with sales. But like going into 19, when it was time to like renew the lease, we just decided the shop wasn't for us, because it was still probably 80-20. You were still running mobile. We built a really good mobile business here in the Valley. And so then we decided, all right, well, doing that shift, we would figure out if we wanted to have as many people on payroll. So it was this gray area in my life too of like, what am I doing? What's my next 10 years going to be like within Shineworks? And so 19 to today, we let a lot of guys go. We sold a couple of vans. We didn't renew the shop. I feel like I've played it smarter the last 3 years of business for Shineworks. We've kept the first couple of years down to 2 guys. I've kept the last couple of years 1. And I feel like I've used more other help with other companies and other guys that detail. If I have a 40-foot RV, or if I have a 50-foot RV, or, I have these bigger jobs, I feel like I've had guys and made all these great relationships that we just feed off each other, and let's both make money at the end of the road.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. it's just, that's the reality. I don't know if it's just retired and getting old, but I've done no marketing since I've done that shift, 2019, early 2020.
Great.
I feel like during COVID, probably all of us, any mobile detailer, we could have put more business on the table, because the phones didn't stop. The phones kept going and going and going, like interior detail, interior detail, interior detail, interior detail, interior detail.
Which is I think this is completely the opposite of how a lot of people think. Instead of inviting another detailer to help you, they would push them away because they're afraid they're going to take your business.
No,
and
you got it wrong. Yeah.
Well, along with the fact that you not only are you helping yourself, you're helping someone else, you're helping the business grow. Just the detailing business in general grow, because it's like, where have you ever gone and seen a McDonald's where there wasn't a Burger King across the street? Competition breeds each other, and feeds each other. And if we help each other succeed, it's just better for everybody involved, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
and there's some of the trying of like, hey, let's make a commission, the 60-40,
sure.
And it's like, no, what is it going to cost at the end of the road? If it's only going to cost us $100 to do this whole thing, let's, we can make 600 and you can make 3 and 3. Let's go,
Yeah.
But if I'm supplying all my water and we're, that's, different conversation. But we all need help. And half the time these guys need help just because they don't know how to do an RV, or they don't know how to do a side-by-side, or they've never done a ceramic coating job, or I've never corrected a hood, or I've never done oxidation, some of our battles here.
Right.
And so bringing them on a job like that does take me 4, 5, 6 hours, right? By myself, some of them. Can I cut it in half and you can help and you're slow and I'm busy?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm going to be slow, yeah.
How many vans do you have now?
I have just one.
Just one. Okay.
One little Ford Transit Connect. And I tell you, everybody buy them because I don't think they're making them anymore. I think that's the last year.
Did you get rid of the shop?
I got rid of the shop. Was maybe a year, maybe a little more.
Okay.
Sharing it with PPF guy. He did tint, vinyl wrap. Nothing against the vinyl wrap community, but a little bit slower than our pace.
Sure.
And like I said, my pace has always been pretty quick. Me and my wife, we talked about my wife. My wife got trained. We both got kind of trained by Michael Phillips. He was with Auto Geek for a long time as their director of training. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We met him in Colorado, spent a week with him, learning how to correct, spent a week with Gion that week, with Geoff from Gion. So yeah, we just learned time is money. I'm not saying rush things, but there still needs to be profit. And I feel like our profit margin in our industry is very low. I'm not doing a remodel in a house and it cost me $2,000 and I make $100,000, I'm not saying that's what it is, but
I understand.
But I just, it's not that big. So,
yeah,
so coatings take time, but we can make some money on them.
Right. So you've made the transition from basically having partners, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
To
softly,
building the business with employees, to now we're backing things down to a little bit more manageable, to just doing things on your own, or do you have employees still?
I got one guy that helps.
Okay.
And I got another guy that worked with me for 2 years. He's left on, great guy. He's moved on, but we will help a lot with each other. I think we have a good conversation with each other to where it's healthy enough to where we know that where we can feed off each other.
Okay.
I feel like I'm old, So I feel like a lot of you guys are a lot younger. Take them under my wing and kind of coach them. And I feel like he's the only one that really listens over the years.
Okay.
I feel like I talk a lot, and so I don't mind talking. I like talking, but I have no secrets.
Right.
If it's worked for me, can it work for you?
Sure.
Do I get my feelings hurt if I see a replicated business and I go on their website and I'm like, oh, it's word for word of mine.
Yeah.
That hurts my feelings. Yes. But I'm like, hey, I've done something right, but I have always opened that door and always left my door open. Okay. I had this really if I can help you, let's help you,
Sure.
Because and I've watched growth. I had a skid mount built for one of my trucks. And I didn't know what to do with it. It was like 300 pounds, 400 pounds. I wasn't going to keep dragging it around with me. I wasn't going to use it because then I went to self-contained units, so my vans. And so I wasn't going to use it. So I was like, well, what I do? So I offered it for free, And so I've watched this guy use it and just grow and grow and grow and grow. Now he's out of it. He's already passed it on, hopefully, to the next guy because it's all steel, So, but watching that's cool. That's neat, And so.
So where do you think Shineworks is headed then? Where do you want to take it? What do you want to do with it?
I don't know. I hit 40 this year, December 2nd. So,
Okay.
is that an eye opener age? I don't know, but it opens your eyes. Like I got a lot more in me, at least another 40. I'm convinced that, over the holidays, I was telling myself, maybe I've been building 22 years for the person who I'm building. I feel like my name is important, and I feel like I need to just, can I help in some degree? And where Shineworks is headed is, maybe this year I keep telling myself, do I want to be an owner operator? Do I want to be an owner? Is it a business to sell? Is it a business to keep growing? Is it a business for my kids? There's a lot of questions. Do I see myself buff and paint for another 20 years? I mean, could I? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Would it be a little bit slower, a little bit harder as time goes on? That's just natural. And it's just natural, right? But I think right now I hired a new guy just recently. I'm trying to at least let's educate him enough to be a manager role, because I've had this structure before. I don't know why if I let myself in 2019 be like, this is too much,
right?
Where I needed more money, or I just didn't have enough faith in myself of seeing where I was at. And COVID shifted all. If there was 100 of us here locally in the Valley that were detailers in 2019, now there's probably 2,000. So it's a big difference. It's changed a lot too.
Yeah.
So, it's going back to, I know how to, I know how to build relationships. So Is it building new relationships? Because if I'm building new relationships to build another big business, I got to make sure I'm ready to work it.
Right.
And that's where maybe that's my fear line. But hopefully the new hire guy can be the guy to work it, and hopefully, hiring another guy for him can be the next guy that wants to work it. And I got to make a living, but I want to make sure they can make a living. And that's how I've always run my business. I watch the guy move out of mom's house and get an apartment and get a new car. Those are great things on your back. And, we talked about it earlier, a little foundation that we started of just Grace and Humans, if there's just the grace of helping, but you help in so many different ways. Like I said earlier on, my door's always been open.
Right.
Some people will come knocking. Some are scared to come knocking, but some people will come knocking and be like, hey, who are you? I want to talk to you. And I'm always all open.
So you just mentioned it, and I was going to mention it here in a minute, is that take a few minutes and talk to people about the Gracing Humans Foundation. It's a foundation that you started. It's a nonprofit, correct?
Yeah, the structure would be a profit for. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we all want to help, right?
Sure.
And time is time. So at the bottom line of the road, it's either time. But a lot of times we need money to help more, right?
Right.
I had a time in my life, like I said, if at 14, 15, honestly, 14, 15, smoking meth was okay for a 14-year-old, then let's keep riding with that, right? But right. I know today that's wrong, right?
It's wrong, correct.
But that's me as 14. I mean, I just remember 7th grade summer sniffing cocaine all summer, right? And then 8th grade summer was taking acid all summer, but I didn't stop during school year. No, we kept doing it, right? But it just kept shifting. It went from from one thing to the next thing to the next thing and next thing. That's growing up too fast.
Right.
So, but there was a moment when I had to get sober. Getting sober is not always free. And I get it. They say there's places that'll help you. It's not that easy to get in those places. So I needed funds too at that time to get me into, treatment, to get help. And so sometimes people need that help to get it, know. But Gracing Humans on the back burner, we were talking about the other day. I use the word humans because I feel like humans is just a better word for people,
Right.
And, there's a chance for us all help each other. So where can we help each other? I've lost mom from cancer. I've lost dad from addiction. I've been addicted myself. I've had addiction flowing through my family streams. So addiction's gnarly. We talk about mental health. They talk about a lot, and they talk about addiction a lot. There's just so much going on that sometimes it is just a kick. Yeah. Sometimes we do just need a kick, but sometimes it's a lot more.
Right.
So figuring out a concept, because like I said earlier on, is like, I don't like sitting. So I like staying busy, and busy is this guy's mind, and this mind just keeps going. And so trying to figure out a name and an idea, and we just came up with Gracie Humans, and it created the foundation idea of like, where can we have the concept to create something to help somebody? My wife behind me, she has like heat presses and stuff like that. We can make shirts, but we need to sell a shirt to make money. You got to create a shirt to get it, but
right.
Can we sell a shirt? That was kind of the idea. Let's sell a t-shirt, use the profits from the t-shirt to help the next guy. Where do you start helping people? Send me the story, send me the person. There's a lot of people that need a lot of help. Where can I help? 3 years now, we've fed families for Thanksgiving,
Nice.
And that just keeps getting bigger too. And, we've opened the door to, there is no leftovers in our house, because we rather just give the leftover to somebody that needs it,
Right.
And, we talk about in the detailing world, it's always been an open door. I'd rather teach you right than teach you wrong.
Right. Correct.
It didn't cost me a lot to be taught right, but if I can teach the next guy to take the right step, if that's in products and that's technique, or if that's in profit margins, or if that's creating a website, or if that's creating the booking online, whatever it is, there's solutions to it all. It's worked for me, got to work for you.
Right.
Do I need to sell that? No,
What do you think one of the biggest obstacles for a young starting out fresh detailer is? What do you think one of the number one obstacles is for those people?
Work ethic.
Work ethic. Okay. Can you teach that? Or is that, I've often wondered, can you teach work ethic, or is that just something that's, and maybe this is a whole nother podcast, but is that something that's built in? Is it something that you've seen all your life? What's your opinion on that?
I think I've always said it's generation, right? Like, I feel like it's not one kid. It's my younger kid get it, right? My older kid might not get it, but my younger kid might get it. But then my younger kid might get it, but then my older one might not. So can it be taught? Yeah, but there's more fight against taught. I don't know. No, let's not say that. People make it look easier today than it ever is.
Correct.
I think whatever it is, right? And so, but it's not that easy when you get to doing it.
I think it's easy to make it look easy.
Maybe that's what it is. But it's that glorifying moments that are more glorified than they are.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I take all my own photos, my own videos. I do my own editing. I don't feel like there's any like emphasis of like making myself look better or vice versa, right? But would it make it easier to hire a guy to do that, to make it easier for me, to make it better, to make it look better? What's the turnout after that? I don't know. I've always heard fake it till you make it. But you said me and my brother had the same jobs for 10 years. He stayed with Gilbert a little bit longer. But if I told you I smoked meth as a 14-year-old, they wouldn't even believe me telling you that. Because they look at me like, man in a suit that's doing the same thing the next guy that got the bachelor's degree, if they had that conversation with them.
Right.
But they would never have that conversation, right? But they would ask me, hey, you ran on the streets, right? Oh, yeah, you carried a 360 as a kid and a gun and ran to do that. Did this, and all these stories, right? They would never believe it. So did I sell myself? I think I sold myself, if anything, but my work ethic, that goes back to the work ethic. I just worked hard every single day. I was at Dillard's. Every single day I've been in Shineworks. I think I've gotten to a spot where I've let it ride. And that's where you asked earlier, what's the future of it? Do I go back to that same hard work ethic? Because it's still in me.
Right. So
all these new guys that are coming out, we're still here, We know how to turn the switch real quick. But yeah, I just showing up to anybody that's starting out, it's not going to come to you. You got to go get it.
You got to go get it.
You got to go get it.
Correct.
You do. You got to go knocking on doors. You got to pick the phone up. You got to.
Right. Which I'm still, it's somebody once told me, you need to get rid of your business cards. Like, why? Every now and then I'm going to run into a situation where just handing somebody one might work. I'm still a little old school in the sense that I'll knock on a door. I'll ask somebody in a parking lot. I'll hand somebody a business card. Any way to communicate with somebody who I am and what I do, why would I eliminate one just because of someone else's opinion about technology?
I always say, talk to 3 people a day about your business. 3 people.
Yeah.
3 people. It's simple enough. I can't get rid of cards. Arizona and Florida are probably the 2 states in the whole United States that have probably more 55 plus communities. And trust me, they're not going to download my app, and they're not going to take this, quick scan card. I have a GR code in the back, and half the time I'm telling them, hey, just scan this. Where's your phone? Okay, their phone number's in the backside. Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. Yeah. I'll call you tomorrow. All right. You're always going to get it. I was going to ask for a card.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's what I've found, is that any way at all that you can communicate with people is always going to be a way to communicate with people.
Yeah.
And you never know that one person that just isn't going to communicate with their phone. They're going to communicate face to face. They're going to communicate, communication's key,
And we got an easy door. I mean, anywhere, anytime, there's a dirty car, so anywhere you're at, it doesn't matter where you're at. You just got to remember that it's just your job just to give them a card. It's just your job just to tell them what you do. Gas stations are a hot spot. I'm not saying it just 20 cars in 2 minutes, 20 cars in 2 minutes. That's me. That's the younger Geoff. I would talk to all those people and to give every single people at a gas station. If I was getting gas, they all knew about my business.
Right.
Or the guy that was with me was selling on headlights. Hey, your headlights. Hey, your headlights need renewed. Hey, we can buff your headlights out. Those are just the simple things here in Arizona that go so fast, for $75, don't even tell us to go around the back, because we'll start buffing headlights around the back of the gas station. No hesitation. That's that grind. That's that work ethic,
Yeah.
So is it weirder at 40? It's pretty creepy at 40 if I'm going to start doing that. But if I need to, I'll do it, because that's what worked.
Yeah.
That's what we did for so long. So, that's that, going back to that work ethic. Is it in you? Can it be taught? How long does it take? I think that's the next question.
Yeah.
Do I wait 2 weeks on a new hire? Do I wait a week? Do I expect it in 3 days? Do I expect it on the next route? Every person's different. You got to give everyone a chance. I put new hire, not new hire. I put a guy that was with me for 2 years. We really seek treatment for him, and we found it. And he left, and he got help, and he's moved. And this is, it's been 8 years now since, but we stay in touch at least once a year, a couple of times a year if we can. But he's doing good, and he's cleaned up his life. But I'm not gonna turn my back on you because you did wrong. There was people there for me, ready for me to pick me up.
Yeah.
I got to be ready to pick you up. If I have a story or if I don't have a story, you might not ever know, but I'm going to pick you up anyways. Sometimes we need it.
Before we think about heading out, give me 2 things. Give me one, a book you highly recommend, and a quote that makes sense to you, you think you need to share with somebody.
Yeah, quotes are tough, but
okay. Well,
there's a book in front of me, and trust me, I'm probably only like 10 pages in it. So for Matt Sandy, I found on Instagram.
Okay.
And I think it was the promotion of this book is where I started seeing quotes from, but it's just Manifesting Miracles in the Matrix by a gentleman named Matt Sandy.
Okay.
Live your day like it's your first. And it's going to be like more just manifesting in your mindset, because my biggest battle, I've talked about it probably a couple of times, is that I like staying busy.
Right.
And like I said, that sometimes that busyness is in my head. Is it just from so many years of doing such quick drugs, right? Just go.
Yeah.
But it's just, I've had a roller coaster of a business for 10 years. I love the detailing world. could I dived more into it of, Geoff Gaines, and he's the polisher from Arizona, and made myself a bigger name? Absolutely. I feel like I've kept it to myself here in Gilbert, Arizona, in the East Valley of Phoenix, And so, like you said in the beginning, there's just always a story that needs to be heard, and I feel like I need to talk a little bit more and learn how to talk too. All
Right.
this is, is just fun. And so we go back to the Gracing Humans. Beyond just in Gracing Humans, if I can help more, for the next 40 years, the next 20 years, if that's in education, teaching people more about what I do and within detailing, or vice versa,
Yeah.
running how to run small businesses. Like I see the bigger reward watching people get a house, or watching people get cars, or watching their family get connected, or watching an employee that hasn't seen their kid in 6 months finally see their kid, right? That stuff gets on me. That's like monkeys on my back. So I just wanted to see that reward for them and be able to see them do those things. That's the great things about running a small business. Wish every client was able to hear that story, right? Because you feel like you'd have a list of clients down the road. This is great, man. It's Shineworks Detailing. They only see the grit and grind, or if you missed a little crumb, right? Or the really good, half and half. But
so tell everybody, if they're interested in you speaking to you reaching out, them reaching out, where can everybody find you?
Always on Shineworks. I've emphasized a lot of my time on Shineworks. But I have my personal account's Geoffrey Ganes. I have had another vision. I'd love, if anybody has a really nice car local here in Arizona, I'd love to try to figure out how to sell it for you.
Okay.
That's another one of my ideas, is not being a private seller, but I feel like I got a lot of great friends and a lot of great customers that might be intrigued by your car and might want to buy it. It's just interlinking two relationships together.
Right.
Don't get it wrong. Geoff Gaines wants to make a living, and so, but I want to do it with things I'm passionate about. I'm not a car guy. I've always told people I'm not a car guy. I just know a lot about paint,
Yeah.
and just detailing cars in general. I know nothing about motors, but I've learned a lot over the years about motors and stuff like that. So, but yeah, outside of that, Geoff Gaines, social media, Geoffrey, Geoffrey. Geoffrey the Giraffe. If you don't know Toys R Us, there's some out there that had a big, tall guy like me, big, tall, skinny guy too, Geoffrey the Giraffe. So I always say Geoff with the G. But Shineworks Detailing is like I said, that's my fourth child. So
perfect.
I got 3 child.
Well, Geoff, first of all, congratulations on sobriety, because that's
absolutely,
huge.
man. Absolutely,
Yeah, that's huge. Thank you so much for everything today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for recording with me. Thank you for the information, and thanks for Gracing Humans. I'm going to check that out a little bit more and see what's going on.
It's a start. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a start, and see.
And and I told you in the beginning too, is like I'm just intrigued you even saw it.
Right?
Because I would trinkle it on my website through Shineworks. I wouldn't really promote it, but I would trinkle it on there and see if I get any traffic on it, and I would get no traffic.
Sure.
And then I was like, well, where can I use some of Shineworks funds, of our profits, and use that towards a foundation that's helped? Breast cancer awareness has been the biggest part. I make sure once a year I'm getting out and doing a race, or getting out to be a part. I got it tatted on my body, that's the dedication to my mom, so I always try to, make a point to help. But I feel like if anything, I got time for you, give me a call, reach out, whatever it is.
Perfect. Well, once again, thanks for everything. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks for sharing
Thank
your
you for
shine.
having me.
And we'll do it again. But until then, thanks for sharing your shine, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great day, man.
You too, man. Thank you.